Here's a little update on my first proper bulk. No free shows. The past few months I've been too scared and self-conscious about my journey, which prompted me to slow down my gym content. That, paired with what my wife calls analysis paralysis, has kept me from the big picture of why I started all of this in the first place. Recently, I needed a reminder that my goal was never to keep up with various fitness influencers or to become the next strongest or best looking natural bodybuilder that ever existed. Rather, I'm in it just for me, and I'm tracking a journal for my own interest and for anyone who cares to follow along. I know I'm still carrying some stubborn fat and loose skin, but that's not going to hold me back. After putting my doubts aside, I'm glad to be here and take you along in a day as I prepare for a brutal leg day mid-bulk. So here's my story about my bulk. 5 weeks ago, I decided to embark on a proper bulk, meaning I would eat more to hopefully gain size and strength for 8 to 10 weeks. I didn't take this decision lightly. I considered all the pros and cons and thought well and hard about the time and effort that I'd spent the last 2 years to get myself to lose 20 pounds of fat and gain 10 pounds of muscle. To give you an idea, this is what I looked like before. After some honest thought, I knew that I had nothing to worry about. I had a great support network and people to keep me accountable even if I was unable to. When I started, I was 170 pounds and roughly 17% body fat by the end of October. I knew that this would be a good time to bulk since the holidays were coming up, and so I laid myself a few ground rules. 1, I would still eat junk foods in moderation. 2, I have to push myself harder than I ever have when training. And 3, I have to hit my protein quota and sufficient calories each meal. Everything seemed to be going well until 2 weeks in when I realized that I was still maintaining 170 pounds. Eating more was so much tougher than expected. Then, for the next couple weeks, I significantly increased my caloric intake, and that was when I was finally seeing the scale move up to 172 pounds. That's why you'll see me scarfing food down so often. Despite the slight hiccup, it's been wonderful. I noticed that my recovery time has improved despite pushing extremely hard, and my energy throughout the day has felt pretty steady. I still eat fairly clean during my bulk, but that's been pretty easy since I feel really bad after eating junk, and my stomach and booty absolutely thank me for that. These are just highlights of my leg day, and I'll have another long form to go into depth about them if you're interested. Let's try to get 10 likes for an in-depth leg day routine. You'll see me go for heavy working sets for squats, followed by accessories, and that's because I'm taking more of a power building approach. It's a mix between increasing strength and compound movements and powerlifting while focusing on hypertrophy and muscle growth for bodybuilding. I love the idea of looking good, but I also want the muscles to be useful, so that's primarily what drives this training philosophy. So far, I've absolutely loved it. Personally, I find the importance of being well-rounded. I never want to be someone who could squat 1,000 pounds, but couldn't walk up the stairs without a trip to the ER. I take accessories just as hard as my compounds because they provide the strength of my compounds, and because they are the means that I grow the muscles that I want to look good. Sometimes I need that extra oomph to get through it, especially when it gets tough, and I've also noticed that the extra carbs and calories really come in handy when I have these slower tempo and grindy sets to squeeze out as much as I can. I push hard to get through my workout, and I start to focus on my smaller muscles as I get through it so that they aren't the limiting factor as I'm doing my compounds. And here's about the only genetically gifted part about my body and the muscle that takes absolutely no work for me to grow. Featuring my calves. I've also been appreciating a final set of burnouts so that I promote as much muscle activation as possible, and also to ensure that I finally hit the target muscles that I want to. After a great session, I'm always looking forward to some good food and time with the girls.
Oh no, now you're teasing them. That's wrong.
We've been making some protein cookie dough for dessert lately, and it's been absolutely delicious. It doesn't taste like that nasty chalky protein bar that you get from the store, and it always keeps you satisfied. You can stay tuned because there might be a recipe coming up for that. Anyway, we take the girls out on a walk for our cardio and just spend some family time. It's always nice to make the most out of our time when life gets busy.
Sit.
When we get back, I'm usually pretty taxed for the day, so it's a protein shake before heading to bed and some much needed rest and recovery for the next day of training. If you enjoyed this, please feel free to subscribe. I love making these, and I love hearing from you all. This journey has been absolutely amazing. I would love to help anyone who is looking to start their fitness journey, since it's done wonders for me. If you've made it this far, I absolutely appreciate it. I hope that you found this inspirational or educational for any purposes at all. I know that it can be difficult once you get started, but believe me, it's absolutely worth it. Please do consider following along if you'd like to see more. I do plan on posting more long forms, as that's the content that I just generally prefer to make. See you all soon.